All right. Hello, YouTube. We are live. Hello, YouTube. We got YouTube and Discord, and I will start. Actually, Twitter's ready. Boom. I set Twitter, TikTok, whatever the hell it's called. I set TikTok up earlier. TikTok, reverse. All right. Woo woo. There we go. Hello, everybody. There we go. Now, TikTokers are slowly coming in. All right. Woo. Woo woo woo. Good. Dog is chilled a little bit on the couch. That's good. Oh man. Anyway, welcome everybody. How are we doing this evening? Welcome TikTok, YouTube, Discord, everybody. Monday, February 9th. Thank God. Another month of this and maybe we're done. Man. Oh, hey Russ. I see Russ Schuster or Russ Huster just became a Patriot launcher. Excellent. Thank you, Russ. No audio? Of course not. Sorry, TikTok's being evil. All right. There, I unplugged and replugged for TikTok. Let's see how that is. Is the audio working now for TikTok? Yeah. Remember, it hasn't done that in a while. Remember TikTok when I get everything rolling and it doesn't, it's Callum going, your audio wasn't working. Okay. Yeah, remember? Yeah, exactly. Callum just texted me, your audio's not working. Remember TikTok used to do that. Oh, thank you, Mario. Gift membership. Excellent. Aces or Ace. You just got a gift membership for a month from Mario. Pretty much it gives you the weekend show. I do a show every Saturday just for the paid subscribers. Some emojis and your name changes green for a month. So I know you're a supporter. So thank you. Thank you via Mario, but thank you both. Yes, after another month, I'm hoping the weather. Thank you, Jocelyn, for the wink wink. Yeah, this weather has been, I mean, most of the country, the weather's been just horrific here. Absolutely horrific. And it went bad again this weekend. I mean, the cold. And now finally starting tomorrow, we're normal, which means 30s and 40s and 50s, which is what it should be in this town. Not this ridiculous, oh, the snow is not gone. Oh no. Is the snow gone? Oh no. It's better. Somebody said, is the snow gone? It's not gone. It's better, but it's been so cold. It hasn't been above freezing here. We've been cold for, I couldn't even tell you how long. Any case, exactly. So welcome everybody. We are going to talk about the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about Trump. We're going to talk about all the latest news, some Ukraine stuff. I'm in Washington, D.C. We can, what? Oh, I'll do a quick pitch as always for the gifts. Keep the gifts coming, guys. I appreciate your support. Very, very helpful. Supports my work and I love it. So thank you. And I do thank you thank you, Max House, for the bow. And I do try to do a shout out for a lot of the gifts. So thank you. So yeah, yesterday was a Super Bowl. I couldn't care less about the Super Bowl, but I like the halftime show and I like the commercials. I did tune in to watch Bad Bunny. I only learned of him because of the Super Bowl and the controversy. I didn't know him. I mean, to be totally honest, at all. And it was very interesting. He was very good. I don't love all of his music. I mean, I will say, like, his music is okay. I love Latino music. His music is okay to me. It is, I think, probably a little more rap or a little more, there's almost a dance. He's got some rap, which I already knew. There's almost some dance music to his music too, which I don't like dance music. Not Latino dance music. I like Latino dance music. Hablo español muy bien, pero no entendí nada. Somebody said, if you speak Spanish, it's good. I couldn't no entendí un carajo. I couldn't understand. But having said that, I then watched the performance on YouTube, the official copy of the performance, and I understood more of his Spanish. Coming through the TV, it wasn't as good. Coming through my computer with the official copy on YouTube, the Spanish was more clear. Now, he's still Puerto Rican, so good luck understanding his Spanish. I've been to Puerto Rico. It's hard the first few days. But it was very good. In any case, his music is not my favorite, but I like it. It was fun to hear. It was Anybody who can't hear, leave and come back. It should clear it up. Well, I guess you can't hear. Mods or somebody, just explain. If that person's being legit, tell them to leave and come back, and that should clear up the issue of not hearing me. Or turn up the volume, or tell them to leave and come back. Exactly. That's funny. Paul says a Venezuelan friend said they couldn't understand much of his Spanish either. No, I will say it's also not easy to understand English music. Like I can't always understand the lyrics to English music. So in another language, in any case, it was very good. It was very interesting because he really turned it around on its head, which was, I think, very interesting. It was now my mic is where it always is. It's just TikTok being evil, like always. He turned it around in its head. So everyone was getting pissed at him. Remember the MAGA, not everyone. Sorry, let me rephrase that. The MAGA people were freaking out. Oh, thank you for the rainstorm, Carrie. Oh, that's a very nice one. Thank you, Carrie. The MAGA was freaking out. Oh my God, he doesn't like ICE. Well, the majority of the country doesn't like ICE, so good luck with that, right? He hates it. He's not American. Yes, he is. He's Puerto Rican. He's gonna sing in Spanish. I actually tweeted somebody yesterday. I was like, yeah, the guy was bitching about, he has the nerve to sing in Spanish. Who does he think he is? And I'm like, yes. Oh no, some really hot, dark, young guy with an accent is going to sing to us in a foreign language. Oh, don't want, right? Like, would hate to have that happen. Who likes that? Who likes that? Right? Some hot, young, dark thing singing in a foreign language. Nobody likes that. The music, it's funny. His music is not entirely my music. Like I said, I like salsa, I like merengue. I mean, I love salsa and merengue and stuff. His is a little different. It still was, the energy was great. The dancing was great. I get a kick because Trump was, they were hoping he was going to do some, down with ICE, down with Trump, or not crazy. They were hoping he was going to say something provocative so then they could get all upset. He didn't. He made the broadcast about love. He made the broadcast about love, right? The whole thing. What was the last phrase? The last phrase that was on the screen? I can paraphrase, but I want to get the exact quote about hate and love. Does anybody remember the exact phrase at the very end? He holds up a football that says, "We are all America." And on the screen behind him, it's this positive message about the only way to beat hate is with love. Something to that effect. The only way to beat hate is with love. It was great. It was great, right? It was, he had a marriage. It was an actual marriage. A couple had contacted him a while ago and said they invited him to come to their wedding. And he responded and said, well, actually, I'm going to be singing at the Super Bowl. Why don't you come and get married on stage during my performance? And they were like, okay. And I just read, and by the way, Fox News, I love this. Fox News nationally did the story, which is great. Fox News loves him. Fox News does the story and said he also was the witness for their wedding, and he signed the marriage license as the witness. So they've got Bad Bunny as the witness to their wedding, and he signed the marriage license. I mean, that couple better not get divorced. Could you see the divorce and the whole property discussion, the divorce being who gets the marriage license? It'd be like, oh my God. Yeah, very, very, very cute. No, it was great. Lady Gaga sang, she was great. Ricky Martin sang, he was great. There were a couple English things like God Bless America and stuff that Bad Bunny did say. Oh, thank you, Gene, for our Animal Band performance. He kept it positive. I mean, he didn't have to. He kept it positive. It was a very pro-Latino message. It's funny, MAGA, I think these guys aren't, I'm going to pull punches a little tonight. Pedro Pascal was there in the background. There was a gay couple at the beginning. Somebody said there were multiples. I went back and found it. There was a gay couple at the beginning that was two guys by the pickup truck. At one point, he's dancing in front of a white pickup truck, and the two guys, one guy's in the car, it's outside. It's a gay couple. It was, again, wonderfully inclusive. I will say this. I'm trying to think of how to say this. It's funny because I don't want to get him in trouble because he was doing a little bit of political stuff. He used a flag that's an old Puerto Rican flag that kind of is about nationalism, maybe even independence, right? His message about America was interesting because it was intentionally a little vague. He said, God bless America, but then he listed off all the countries in North and South America, meaning God bless the Americas in essence, right? Because he mentioned the US and Canada and Puerto Rico and Cuba. Well, Cuba. He mentioned Puerto Rico as his homeland, not as a country, of course, because Puerto Rico is part of the US. But he was playing a little bit of a game about basically saying we are all America. When he said we are all America, he didn't just mean you and me, you other Americans out there. The whole North and South America is America. Now, it's an argument that frankly, in the past, from him, it's fine. From him, he's Bad Bunny. He's hot. He's fine. And he was dealing with a very fine show, so it's fine. It was a love and unity message. Actually, one thing, you know what? One thing that made me very proud watching the show as like a white boy American, I am not Latino. I am Greek, but I'm not Latino. Was I was watching at one point and just so enjoying the spectacle, but the spectacle in not American vernacular, meaning spectacle, like in French, the showmanship of it, right? And at one point, I was thinking, because he was dancing and everybody was dancing, and I was thinking, this is such a performance. And it's such a purely Latino performance. It's Latin culture at its highest. And he's American. To me, that was the thing that was fascinating to me, right? Was this guy that is doing this ultimate Latin performance about Latin America. He's still American, which means an American has done one of the biggest performances, like promoting the Latin culture. I don't know. Something about it made me very proud because I was kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, because you think of Latin culture and you don't think of America itself. You think of other Latin American countries, but that an American sort of had the top. Oops. And my browser crashed. That was interesting. Oh no, something crashed. Are you guys still there? Oh no, Discord. Oh, that was weird. Something like crashed on my screen in front of me. You guys are all still there, I'm assuming. Yeah. Okay. You're all still there. Yeah. That was weird. I'm assuming you guys are still there. Yeah. Sorry. Discord, something happened with YouTube. Like my screen changed in front of me and I went, what the hell was that? It was great. Anyway, it was very good. It was very good. Like I said, he was great. Bottom line is, and the best part, somebody grabbed some video from Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago had like their own Super Bowl show, and the Mar-a-Lago Super Bowl they were watching, it got to the halftime. They were watching Bad Bunny. They had Bad Bunny on the screen. Now, the right wingers, the MAGA people, tried to do their own alternate Super Bowl halftime show. That was, of course, pathetic and sad because they were upset that there was a Latino doing the show, which is hard. And he was going to sing in Spanish, right? Well, even Trump at his Super Bowl party didn't put on the alternative MAGA performance. He left it on Bad Bunny. I mean, you couldn't get better than that, right? As I said, it was thoroughly enjoyable. Just in every way. I'm trying to think what else. You know, the couple getting married was amazing. The guest stars, there were also a number of guest stars that were very subtle. Like there were a number of famous people. If you go back and watch at the very beginning, he's dancing in front of like either like a hacienda, like a home, right? And a home with a front porch. And there's 10 people dancing. A number of them are famous. Pedro Pascal was one of the guys on the far left. And if you look, you'll see a couple times it zooms in and you go, that is Pedro Pascal, Pedro Pascal. Some of the women who I don't know, I mean, I know I've heard of them. I'm forgetting, you guys know the names. Is it Cardi B? Exactly, who I don't know, but I know. I mean, I know of her. Cardi B was there. And the other ones I don't even know. Carol G, no clue who that is. Jessica Alba, I've heard of. She's very pretty. That was my response. I looked and I went, she's very pretty. Who's that? Jessica Alba. I said, I know that name. But it was, like I said, it was thoroughly enjoyable. Now, I will say very funny too. I'm watching some of the clips today and Megan, what's her last name? Megan, the woman who used to be at Fox News, who's very angry. She's the one who complained that she's the one who famously, Megan, what the hell's her last name? You guys know. that Fox News woman who's gone from Fox, Megyn Kelly. Thank you, Dawn. Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly was very upset. I watched a clip today with Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan was defending Bad Bunny. Piers Morgan, who can be kind of an idiot. He was doing a good job. And she's going, he's saying in Spanish. And he goes, yeah. Our language is English. And he goes, no, it's not. Yes, it is. He goes, what's the national language of the United States? What is Piers Morgan, what is the national language of the United States? What's the official language? English. He goes, no, you're interrupting me. We need to codify. We want to pass a law. We haven't passed a law yet, but the official, he goes, no, there is no official language for the United States. Our language is not English. A lot of people speak English. It's not, we literally don't have a national language, an official language in the US. And she kept going, but he's saying in Spanish. It was offensive. And you're like, why? No, this is me. Piers Morgan didn't get into all of this, but like, why is it offensive to hear somebody sing in Spanish? You didn't understand the lyrics. Yeah. Again, like I said, I don't understand the lyrics to most songs I hear. But why is it offensive that he's saying in Spanish? Again, I go back to hot, dark, young guy wants to sing to you in some foreign language with an accent. I'd be like, okay. I'm not going to be complaining about that. Oh no, it was ridiculous. It was absolutely. I agree with that. Stuck just said they should have done English subtitles. I don't know why they didn't. That was a big mistake. No, that is true. That was a huge mistake not doing English subtitles. Because I was watching the songs and I speak Spanish and couldn't understand what he was saying. I mean, it's Puerto Ricans way different way of speaking Spanish. They eat the words. I really wanted to know what the songs were saying, that would have been brilliant to have subtitles. I do. And I think it's on Apple Music does. I'll pull it up again and see. Okay. That would be cool. I'll have to see. Cause that would be really just be kind of cool. And I think it would have been, it would have been nice to like invite everybody in with the subtitles, Now I don't know whether the subtitles would have been too hard to pull off on a live show. Don't know. But I think it would have been, because I wanted to know what he was singing. You know what I mean? Now, some of it it's funny. Once I listened to it again, if you speak Spanish, pull up the YouTube version and listen, and you'll understand more. Because like I said, once I watched the YouTube version, I heard him saying, the girls from Colombia and the girls from Mexico. I'm making up the countries here. But he was talking about the different girls he thought were hot and their names and stuff. I didn't get that during the show. I was like, oh, I understood that part. During the show, I could hear him say, you need to have confidence. I had confidence in myself. That's how I got to this stage in life or whatever. And you need to have confidence in yourself, which was really nice too. He's just, honestly, he's nice. He seems like a really nice guy. It's even Latinos don't understand him. He's Puerto Rican. I went to New York, like when I was 19 or something, or 20, 20 or 21, go to New York from Chicago. We drove, it was horrible. Like a 20-hour drive, horrible drive. And was staying with a Puerto Rican friend and his family. And they're having a barbecue out back and they've got a dog. And I'm playing with the dog because I love dogs. And his uncle or father or somebody comes up to me and says, oh, because I'm playing with the dog, goes, te gusta el pelo. And I look at him, I went, ¿cómo? He goes, te gusta el pelo. And I looked at it, lo siento, pero no entiendo. He goes, te gusta el perro. I said, sí. Because he was saying, you like the dog. And in Spanish, you like the dog is te gusta el perro, right? Te gusta el perro. And he was going, te gusta el pelo, te gusta el pelo, like pill for dog. They drop letters in Puerto Rican. They just, and my Panamanian cousins do too, by the way. My God, in Panama, forget it. But it can be very difficult to understand. Yeah, very interesting. Just very difficult. But it's, having said that, I went to Puerto Rico. We won't talk about Puerto Rico the entire time here, but I went to Puerto Rico on vacation years ago. And I would say by the third day, I was fine. Because it was crazy. I was actually very surprised. By the third day, it was okay. But like, if you speak Spanish, you need a couple days to get the accent, and then you're okay. Because like, I was talking to cab drivers at that point. Actually, Puerto Rico, I will say this, Puerto Rico, what I saw wasn't very developed. So it wasn't like beautiful. what I saw. I mean, the main city is nice, San Juan, right? But Puerto Rico wasn't really beautiful, the parts I saw. But after a couple days, I was able to talk to like cab drivers and stuff. So then, and and I'm from Chicago, like, Midwesterners, where we're from in the US, we talk, 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 talk. I mean, like, we'll talk to a rock. Midwesterners are just famous for talking to people. And so I would always talk to cab drivers and stuff, and they'd say, "Oh, where are you from?" And one of the cab drivers I'm talking to, and I think I asked him because I like the music. And at the time, what was big was Ray Ruiz and another big. This was 1995. Ray Ruiz and another huge singer. They were kind of competitors at that time, I remember. And there was another guy who was a big competitor of Ray Ruiz at the time. And I liked the song, and I said, "Who is that?" He goes, "That's so and so. You don't know so and so?" And I said, "No." I said, "No." I said, "I love the music." "Oh my God, I've got to show you. I've got to show." It wasn't Daddy Yankee. No, it was another regular name. It was a normal name. It wasn't like a nickname. Jerry Rivera. That was it. It was Jerry Rivera. Thank you, Lady D. You're good. It was Jerry Rivera and Ray Ruiz. And it might have been Jerry Rivera. Beautiful, great music. Oh my God. Both of them, great music. And because I remember, even now that you're mentioning it to me, I'm going, "Oh my God, I love that music." So I asked, and I said, "Who is this?" And he goes, "Oh my God, that's like Jerry Rivera. How do you not know?" And he goes, "Don't you know Puerto Rican music?" And I said, "No." I said, I have a lot of Colombian friends. I said, "I love salsa, merengue, pop." He goes, "Oh, I got to play you some music." And at this point, he's got like cassettes because it's 1995. So he's got cassettes for his car, and he's putting in cassettes, playing the music for me. And literally, we had arrived at my hotel. We were sitting in this cab for 20 minutes easily with him playing more and more and more Puerto Rican music for me. It was the funniest damn thing you'd ever seen. And I mean, the nicest guy, but this cab driver just was like, "I'm going to introduce the gringo or the whatever, I guess, I don't know what Puerto Ricans would call us, to Puerto Rican music." It was amazing. Anyway, like I said, I really, I didn't, I mean, like I said, Puerto Rico, where I wasn't the prettiest place to go, but the people were so nice. Just nice people. And I should have traveled around on the island. I kind of wanted to stay by the beach, so I didn't, but I should have traveled around on the island and everything else. Buena Vista Social Club, are they Puerto Rican? I just stayed near San Juan at a hotel because I wanted the beach. So I really didn't plan to travel around the island. But anyway. Dave says, "I had the same problem when I visited my army buddy's family in Newfoundland, Canada, English-speaking Canada. They were speaking English, and I couldn't understand what one of his uncles was saying. I turned to my buddy. He looked chagrined. He just shook his head and said he'd been away too long." I love that. Anyway, so yes, it was highly recommend you. It was about 13 minutes long. Even though you won't understand a word, people said Apple Music or somebody has got the translation on the bottom, which I think would be very, very nice to see. But it's just fun. Yeah, it doesn't. His executive orders don't do anything, Al. Now, Ellie was saying Trump signed an executive order making English the official language. That's like saying Trump signs an executive order saying moon is now going to rotate backwards around the earth. It doesn't matter. Yeah, Mark Anthony's another good one. Yeah. Doesn't matter. I mean, sure, but doesn't matter what he does. He doesn't have the power to do anything like that. All right, let's move on. So Olympics. So the other big story, I mean, there's many big stories here, but the other thing Republicans freaked out about was the Olympics. This is one's very interesting, actually kind of typical of them, sad too. Our Olympic athletes, unfortunately for them, because they're trying to focus on winning a medal. And I would imagine if you're an Olympic athlete, you need to get your head in the game. Well, they keep getting asked in Europe, in Italy, about ICE and about immigration because of the disaster that's been happening here, right? And I think it's very unfortunate because it puts them in a weird spot. Because first of all, they're having to talk about politics, and not just politics. They're having to talk about horrific things taking place in our country when they're trying to keep their mind on winning, right? Second of all, what are they supposed to say, right? And MAGA's furious with them because they didn't say, "We love, dear brother," right? Or big brother. What are they supposed to say? Because If they don't, I'm going to read you some of what the athlete said, because what he said was actually quite brilliant, really. Doggy, are you wanting a little? Dog wants a little. Well, let's get the dog a touch of water, and then I will continue reading to you. One moment, dog. All right, I hear you. I hear you. Okay, there you go. All right. I was going to say, so like, I was thinking about this, and let me read you the question first. So the reporter says to one of our Olympic skiers, says, how they feel representing the U.S. while ICE agents are detaining immigrants back home. Now, that question is a little broader because let's face it, the reporter was being nice by saying, how do you feel about ICE agents detaining immigrants? That wasn't what the question meant. The question meant 2 Americans have just been murdered, one of them brutally executed in the middle of the streets by ICE agents. Got an opinion on that, representing that, you representing, that's what that question means. We all know that's what that question means. What do? You refuse to answer? If you could give a glossed over answer and say, well, every country has, right? You give a glossed over answer, and what is that? Then what are you doing? Then you're defending it. Then you're refusing to give an answer. The answer he gave, and MAGA, of course, MAGA said, actually, this is a quote. He said he was embarrassed to be American. He was embarrassed to represent America. He was embarrassed to be American. He didn't. I want to read you what he said. That's a quote. MAGA nonstop, up to Trump, of course. Trump, of course, because, imagine what this guy's life's going to be like. Trump, spit the guy's name out of his mouth, so that everyone will hate him, right? He's embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed too, to be honest. But I want to read you what he said after. And again, keep in mind, MAGA said this guy said he was embarrassed to be American and embarrassed to represent America. I'm going to read you what he actually said. They just lie. I've told this before. You can't believe anything they tell you. He said, I think it brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now. I think it's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest. Now, mind you, he was asked a question about immigration and ICE. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of. And I think a lot of people, thank you, Luis. And I think a lot of people aren't. I think for me, it's more I'm representing my friends and family back home, the people that represented it before me, all the things that I believe are good about the U.S. I just think if it aligns with my moral values, I feel like I'm representing it. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S. So yeah, I just kind of want to do it for my friends and family and the people that supported me getting here. If anything, he gave a very political answer. He gave the harshest thing he said was, look, I don't support everything that happens in my country. I'm not here representing everything that my country has done or does, right? I like to think I'm representing the good of my country, the moral. It's actually now that I read the answer again, it's actually a very apolitical answer. He almost didn't take a side other than that first line when he said, I think it brings up mixed emotions. It's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of. And I think a lot of people aren't. That's it. That was the one line he said that was kind of negative. There's a lot of things going on that I'm not the biggest fan of. By the way, there's a lot of things going on that I'm not the biggest fan of. He could be talking about, cheesecake ice cream. It's a good answer because he's an Olympian. He's trying to be careful, but he really didn't say much. And they claimed that answer was him saying he was embarrassed to be American. That was the first quote they claimed. And that he was embarrassed to represent America, they claimed. Total lie. Total lie. But this is what they do. This is what they do. They lie about this stuff. It's you want to go out there? It's up to you. They lie and they ruin lives because now this guy, of course, has to deal with his entire family getting harassed by these people. Oh, it's always projection. Yeah, George mentioned projection. It's always projection. Pretty much the things that MAGA is alleging or Trump alleges, you can pretty much read it and say, is he like this? Yes. In other words, is this an accusation that's true about Donald Trump? Yes. Right. I mean, yeah. So, but they've of course decided to demonize this guy, and there needs to be. Oh my God, you should have heard like the fascist stuff coming out of him. That crazy Rachel, the one who hated Pedro on The Real World, the one that's married to Sean Duffy. She goes, we need to have a patriotism test for any of our athletes. Before they go abroad, they have to pass a patriotism test. Okay, should we have that test be in Russian, Chinese, or German, Rachel? Which language do you think would work best? A patriotism test. I mean, my God, these people. And of course, the patriotism test is only going to be for the people they don't like. They don't have to pass the patriot. And the patriotism test isn't going to be about love of country. It's about love of them, right? That's what it's going to be about. What else we got? Oh, there's a lot of news today, by the way, just so you know. Federal prosecutor, listen to this story. Federal prosecutors started investigating Renee Good's killing, and then they stopped. Renee Good, the woman in the car who got shot to death by the ICE agents 2 weeks before Alex Peretti. Listen to this story. Federal prosecutors started investigating Renee Good's killing when Washington told them to stop. Thank you, Bowie. They had a warrant to collect evidence from her car, blood splash patterns, etc., but were told to drop it because the investigation would contradict Trump's messaging about the shooting. Trump had said, like, she was, another terrorist. They kept calling terrorist, right? She was a terrorist trying to kill him and this kind of stuff. And Kash Patel, I'm going to read more here, was the bad guy. The head of the FBI thought if they actually investigate the death to figure out what happened, it would suggest that maybe Trump was wrong, right? Because why do you need to investigate a killing if Trump already has told you from 1,000 miles away what happened in that killing? So they stopped the investigation of her death, which is required, of course, in the FBI or any law enforcement. They stopped the investigation because they didn't want to embarrass Trump. From the New York Times. Later that week, as FBI agents equipped with a signed warrant prepared to document blood spatter and bullet holes in Miss Good's SUV, they received orders to stop, according to several people with knowledge of the events who spoke on the condition of anonymity. The orders, they said, came from senior officials, including Kash Patel, the FBI director, several of whom worried that pursuing a civil rights investigation by using a warrant obtained on that basis would contradict President Trump's claim that Miss Good violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer who fired at her. So they called off the investigation of a woman killed by law enforcement because it might embarrass Donald Trump. I mean, it doesn't get more corrupt. Like I said, I can't believe anybody would come to this country at this point. It doesn't get more corrupt and more dangerous than that. When law enforcement, and the law enforcement folks out there can tell you, the current or previous, right? The law enforcement folks can tell you that that was kind of interesting. You're blocking that one. Yeah, that one needs to be blocked too. Oh, too bad they paid. Oh, unless they got a free one. I wonder if they got a free one. Did they get a free one? Maybe I don't know how they got in there. But the what were you saying? Sorry, we had crazy person on TikTok. What were we saying, guys? Renee Good. I don't know what we're saying. 1 second here. Well, now I'm not going to give up this topic because we have the crazy person. Oh yeah, I know what it is. Law enforcement folks will tell you simply pulling out their weapon means they've got to file a report. Just pulling out their weapon. Pointing at you, even bigger report. Firing their weapon, huge report they've got to fill out, investigation. And firing at you and hitting you, even bigger. Firing at you and killing you, even bigger. The investigation that has to be done. When law enforcement kills someone in this country, huge investigation. As Snarly just said, not ICE. ICE and Border Patrol. Which is really kind of crazy too, because ICE and Border Patrol are not trained to do what they were doing in Minnesota. They're the worst people to be doing that job. So for them to use force, it ought to be an even higher standard, right? That they should not be using force unless they absolutely know what they're doing. Thank you for that. Which one was this? Was that Bowie? That was Bowie, I think. Thank you, Bowie. Really crazy stuff. All right, what else we have? Epstein. So more resignations across Europe. Well, not law enforcement. Actually, excellent point by Hestia. They're also not law enforcement. This is Border Patrol. This is Border Patrol. They're not and ICE. They're not law enforcement at all. They like to pretend like they are. It's all cosplay for them, but they're not law enforcement anyway. Epstein. There are more resignations happening across Europe. This is crazy. There has been nobody held accountable in America for being in the Epstein files. Trump is in there a bazillion times. Trump's Commerce Secretary lied in a recent interview on Fox News. He said that he was the one, Howard Lutnick, who said, oh, my wife and I in 2005 took a tour of Epstein's home, and we were so outraged by the massage room that we vowed to never speak to him again. Thank you, Norway. 2012, he was involved in business deals with Epstein. I did some Googling on this. One of the articles says that he was, I think it was New York Times. He was involved in business deals with Epstein, and 2012 or so, he planned a trip to Epstein Island with his wife and children. So I Googled. I was like, right. So 2006, you knew enough about this guy that you were outraged. Thank you, Blue. You were outraged, and you would never see him again because he was so gross. Massage rooms, the whole deal, right? So you knew you had his number. You had his creepy number, right? 7 years later, you did a business deal with him. And mind you, a couple of months ago, you claimed you wrote him off in 2005. Yet now we find out 7 years later, did a business deal with the guy. And according to the article, he and his wife planned a trip to Epstein Island with their children. How old were their children at the time? Well, all you need to do is look at Howard Lutnick's testimony when he became Commerce Secretary, and he talks about all of his children and their ages. One child's age in particular stood out to me. His daughter, who is at the time of his confirmation for the Commerce Secretary, his daughter was 25. His daughter was 11 or 12 years old back in 2012 when they were planning a trip to Epstein Island for her. 11 or 12 years old. And you're going to bring your daughter to Epstein Island. I mean, and this guy, people have complained about it, but he's still there. Thank you, Christina. On the European side, Morgan McSweeney, the chief of staff to Prime Minister Keir Starmer of Britain, resigned under pressure over his role in appointing Peter Mandelson, a friend of Jeffrey Epstein, as ambassador to the U.S. So not only did the guy who was ambassador to the U.S. get punished, but the guy who helped get the ambassador to the U.S. the guy who helped the friend of Epstein get appointed had to resign in England. I mean, like that's how seriously they're taking this, right? He already was convicted of some stuff in 2012. Yeah, I think the convictions were in the single-digit years. Two, Norway's ambassador to Iraq and Jordan, Mona Yule, resigns over links to Jeffrey Epstein. There were other ones in Europe, too. What did we say? Slovakia had one. I'm trying to think. There were some other ones, too. We've had, Prince Andrew. My God, Prince Andrew's in real trouble. The latest thing I saw on Prince Andrew was the King Charles said he would be fine cooperating with Poland. Yep. He would be fine cooperating with the police to investigate Andrew over Epstein. I mean, man. There was a weird NSA story this weekend. We can't get any more details about it. But an NSA, a National Security Agency, it's our spy agency, the most famous spy agency that does the electronic eavesdropping, right? And the NSA reportedly, a whistleblower says, the NSA intercepted 2 foreign intelligence officers discussing a senior Trump White House official. And the NSA was freaked out by what they heard. The details of the conversation freaked them out. It sure sounds, I mean, the way this story sounds, it sounds like two foreign intelligence officials of a very bad country were talking about owning one of our senior White House officials, is what the story sounds like. Now, we don't know the names yet of who these people are. So, there you go. Well, the whistleblower says that Tulsi Gabbard found out, Trump's intelligence person at the White House, who people worry about her loyalty. She found out and killed the story, asked for all the documents and killed it. She's denying it. Congress says they want to be briefed on this. Congress has been told so far that you don't have the security clearance to be briefed on this. And they're like, Congress has every security clearance they need. Certainly on the intelligence committees, they have all the clearances they need. The deputy chief of staff to Tulsi Gabbard gets into a pissing match with the New York Times reporter. What's his name? He's very good. This New York Times reporter he's been there for years. I'm forgetting his name now. He's very good. And gets into a pissing match with the New York Times reporter who wrote the story about this. And again, this is the typical MAGA thing. Tells him, you're lying. It wasn't Eric Schmidt, the other guy who's been there a long time, who's serious and very good. Not Schmidt, but you're on the right path with Schmidt. It's part of the rest of the Washington office. Well, Tulsi's number two, or deputy chief of staff, says, it's all lies. It's all lies. What's in your story? None of it's true. Okay, that's the first thing. And then says, and you're in trouble because you published highly classified information. And he responds to her and he goes, well, it's not highly classified if it was all lies. So I guess you're confirming my story. Tulsi's person publicly confirmed the highly classified leak to the New York Times. Because exactly, think about it. If somebody lied to the New York Times about the story, it's not classified. It's a total, right? If it's a total lie, if the person says, oh my God, I've got nuclear, okay, me right now, these are nuclear secrets. Look at them. No, they're not, right? They're literally not classified just because I claim they're classified. That's not the way it works. When the woman said the things you wrote in that story were highly classified, that means he was literally writing the truth about what was, you get it. They're so dumb. I mean, they're just so dumb. It's like, any case. So that's a big scandal that's happening. They won't tell Congress, which frankly just makes it even more suspicious what's going on. Very bad. Virginia. Oh, this was a MAGA. Oh my God. MAGA freaked out this weekend too. Thank you, Kim, for the gift. Appreciate the gifts today, guys. MAGA freaked out this weekend because the new governor of Virginia, Abigail Spanberger, who is a member of Congress, we like her, former CIA, very spunky. I say spunky because when she ran, she was like, and I am Abigail Spanberger. She was very feisty. She was just, I see the name feisty. She was very feisty. The dino was awesome. Thank you. Well, Abigail Spanberger just signed into law, whatever, the framework for Virginia to rejigger its congressional seats per Donald Trump's request. Remember, Donald Trump demanded the states rejigger the congressional seats because currently Republicans are going to lose the House of Representatives. And they're freaking out. And Trump ordered Republicans to rejigger the congressional seats to try to cut out Democrats. It's very complicated. It's gerrymandering. It typically isn't supposed to happen until the census in 2030. Trump ordered Republicans to do it now. And they did. They stole 5 seats in Texas, literally stealing 5 seats from Democrats, right? Thank you, Cindy. And so the Democrats said, okay. California said, okay, if Texas steals 5 seats, we'll steal 5 seats, or whatever you want to call it. So California did it. Some other Republican states did it too. Missouri, I think, and some other ones. So a couple more Democratic states will do it too. Virginia is one of those states. Well, Virginia is doing it the way New York did. Not New York, California. Virginia is saying, we will put it to a vote, and only if the public agrees will we do this. If the public says, yes, we want you to go ahead and do this, then we will do it. Otherwise, we will not. So very democratic of them. Well, MAGA freaked out. Look at her proposal, taking seats from Republican members of Congress. Could Democrats be any more corrupt? And everyone, first of all, everyone's kind of loving it. The fact that that Trump's order to Republicans to steal the seats has blown up in their face because it looks like the Democrats are doing a better job. That's the first problem. And everyone responded and went, Donald Trump literally started this in May of last year. He ordered Republicans to steal seats by gerrymandering, and Democrats said, okay, if you're going to do it, then we're going to do it. And Democrats are doing a better job. The second thing that's freaking out Republicans is because Donald Trump is so hated right now and so unpopular. CNN actually had a segment about this. I'm going to talk about in a second. Remind me in a second to talk about the CNN segment, Harry Enton. Because he's so hated, there is fear that the new congressional seats they drew in Texas, for example, might backfire on them because they drew the seats in Texas based on how the election went last year. For example, they drew the seats in Texas based on how they thought Mexican Americans would vote because more Mexican Americans, thank you, Becky, than usual voted for Donald Trump. So they drew some districts assuming the Mexicans were still voting for Trump. They're not. They're not. So all of a sudden, right, they drew these seats planning a Republican to win because all the Mexicans were going to vote for them, and now they're not. So it ironically has added a whole nother wrinkle. Now, we don't know yet how it's going to turn out, right? You don't know in the election how it's going to turn out. Yes, was it Louisiana? Thank you, Robert. Louisiana, there was a election in Louisiana. And again, it happened where huge shift towards the Democratic side this weekend. Harry Enton on CNN did a segment about how Republicans have now lost. They've now lost non-college educated voters. So non-college educated voters, non-college educated voters, right? You can break voting blocks into many different categories: race, male, female, etc., right? Religious, not religious. One of the ways they break them apart is college educated, not college educated. College educated votes for Democrats, right? You can figure that one out for yourself. Why? Not college educated votes for Republicans. Let me find this. Here we go. Harry Enton. And not college educated is a metaphor for working class. We say blue collar in the US, working class. Same idea, right? Well, the working class voted for Trump. Harry Enton on CNN, who's their polling expert, says 2024, Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. Okay, in 2024, Trump wins non-college degree people without a college degree, blue collar people, working class people. Trump wins them by 14 points against Kamala Harris a year ago. Today, Trump is losing them by 9 points. Trump was 14 points ahead with working class people against Kamala Harris. He's now 9 points behind with them. I mean, that's insane. That's it. And this is the Republican voting bloc. I mean, as he said, he goes, college educated voters, forget it. They're totally for Democrats. He then has, hang on a second here. So I've got multiple things here. Choice for Congress, non-college educated voters. Last year, 2024, 13 points ahead for Republicans. So again, working class voters, 2024 supported Republicans more than Democrats by a factor of, not a factor, but by 13 points. 13 points meaning 13%. We don't really say percent because it's confusing. If I say you beat it by 13%, then you'd say, oh, you mean 13% of 40%, right? It's confusing. What you mean when you say 13 points, you mean one person got 40%, the other got 53%, a 13-point difference, right? Because if I say 13% difference, you go, oh, 13% of 40, right? So you get it. So 2024, Democrats versus Republicans for Congress. Republicans led by 13 percentage points among working class. Now they're only at 4 percentage points. Republicans dropped 9 percentage points with working class. Harry called this a collapse of the Republican base because, as he goes, college educated, they vote wildly for Democrats. He goes, all the Republicans have is working class voters now, and they don't have them. He said a big part of the reason why, he said a lot of these voters in the past typically would vote for, a lot of the working class people would vote for Democrats. Trump convinced them to come over because he promised them, I will save manufacturing jobs, and they believed him. Harry said, let me show you what's happened to manufacturing jobs since Donald Trump has become president. This is what has happened to American manufacturing jobs since Trump became president. We've lost 63,000 of them. Trump promised to restore them. He hasn't. What is Trump doing instead? Now, Harry did not say this. I'm saying this. He's focusing on getting a Nobel Prize. He's focusing on beating Olympic skiers. He's focusing on enriching himself, earning billions of dollars in crypto, and earning hundreds of foreign people like the UAE and Dubai. I mean, he's blowing up every country he can, practically, to Iran, to God knows who, right? His ballroom, that's right. What isn't Trump doing? He isn't focusing on getting those manufacturing jobs back. And you know what else he isn't focusing on? Inflation, inflation, inflation. He is not focusing on. What else? I mean, I have a lot of other news here. So this is wild too. He's such a liar. I did some research on this today. Trump signed an executive order bringing in 4 times as much Argentine beef into America because American beef prices have gone so high because there's so much demand, and our beef suppliers, this is Trump, our beef suppliers cannot supply the beef that Americans want, so prices have gone through the roof for beef. Donald Trump is going to fix it by letting Argentina bring in 4 times the amount of beef. He lied. Argentina will not be bringing in 4 times the amount of beef. What Donald Trump did was, there are 2 categories of tariffs on Argentine beef. Half of Argentine, and I looked all this up, half of Argentine beef came in under low tariffs. Half of Argentine beef imports to the U.S. Thank you, Diana. Well, that gets you a Trump wig anyway. All right, we'll give you the Trump wig here. Half of the Argentine beef, there we go. Half of the Argentine beef, thank you for that gift, is under a low tariff. Half of the Argentine beef is under a high tariff. Trump put the half that's under a high tariff, he lowered the tariff. For a couple points here, and because I'm going to explain why it makes no difference. He didn't import 4 times the amount of beef from Argentina. He lowered the tariff on half of the beef. Okay. You say lowering the tariff, but that's still pretty good, lowering the tariff, because tariffs are taxes on Americans. By lowering the tariff, he's lowering the price of beef, right? Well, here's the problem. Guess how much Argentine beef Americans eat, right? Americans eat 0.2% to 0.3%. Thank you, Andy. Argentine beef. Of all the beef Americans eat every year, 0.2 to 0.3 comes from Argentina. Trump just took half of that and lowered the tariffs. So he lowered the tariffs on 0.1 to 0.15%, 0.1 to 0.15% of the beef we eat. Okay? I had ChatGPT do the math. And actually, I said, figure out what actually, ChatGPT, I give it credit. I said, figure out how much money that would change in how much will that change the price of beef in America if 0.15% of American beef becomes cheaper? ChatGPT said, actually, I love this answer. This is when I like ChatGPT. It goes, actually, because I said, look at what the price of beef is. It said, okay, look, let's pretend it's $5 a pound. I said, for ground beef. I said, okay. And I said, what would the price of Argentine beef be? ChatGPT goes, let's not even worry about the price of Argentine beef. Let's pretend that Donald Trump got the beef for free. Okay. Let's pretend all that Argentine beef that's coming in is now free for Americans. ChatGPT said if all of that Argentine beef was now free, the price of beef in America would change from $5 a pound. Let's pretend it's $5 for ground beef to, it said it couldn't actually give me a price. It said the price would drop by around 1/10 of a penny. It said maybe a quarter of a penny, maybe, but more likely 1/10 of a penny. The price of beef will drop from $5 to $4.99. Actually, 4.999 is what the new price of beef will be instead of 5.0. Literally 10% of a penny is how much the price of beef is going to drop in America because of Donald Trump doing this. It's a scam. It's a scam. He did not quadruple the amount of Argentine beef, but he also didn't tell you that Argentina makes up 0.1 to 0.3% of the American, or 0.2, I should say, to 0.3% of the American beef supply. It doesn't matter. Now, what that makes me wonder, now, first of all, it still screws over our farmers because our farmers are like, why are you letting beef come in here to compete with us, right? It makes me wonder, if it's not helping lower the price of beef, why is Donald Trump giving preference to Argentina? Did Argentina do something to get Donald Trump to give them preference? Because it's not helping American consumers. So there's got to be a reason Donald Trump is doing this. And you know Donald Trump, right? Look at Dubai, look at UAE, look at what they've done, look at what everybody who wants the pardons has done, right? They made Donald Trump happy, and making him happy, he gave them a deal in response. The deal Trump is giving is not helping American consumers. Why is he doing it? It'd be interesting to know what the quid pro quo was there. Yes, exactly, Chris. Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, this is a fascinating story. Epstein update. This is a fascinating story. We did a little Epstein before. There's more here. There's a lot of news today, unfortunately. It's like we'll go for a while here because this is important too. Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's accomplice, testifies before Congress today. She invokes the Fifth Amendment, which basically, under the Fifth Amendment to the American Constitution, you do not have to incriminate yourself in front of law enforcement. So when you get on the stand like this, you do not have to admit to a crime. You can literally say, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right, blah, 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 and you don't answer the question, okay? So she invoked her Fifth Amendment rights to not answer the question. Her lawyer, I'm going to read you this from CNN. Okay? Ghislaine Maxwell, who was sentenced to prison for 20 years for conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to abuse minors, sent a clear message to Donald Trump on Monday that if the president were to grant her clemency, meaning a pardon, she would clear his name of any wrongdoing as it pertains to Epstein. The extraordinary overture, this is from CNN, stated by Maxwell's lawyer Monday morning during her virtual deposition, ensures the Epstein saga will continue to remain a hotspot. Ms. Maxwell is prepared to speak fully and honestly if granted clemency by Donald Trump, the lawyer said. Only she can provide the complete account. Some may not like, listen to this part, some may not like what they hear, but the truth matters. For example, both President Trump and President Clinton are innocent of wrongdoing. Now, that is very interesting to me. First of all, well, you got a couple problems here, actually. First of all, the lawyer already gave away the goods. The lawyer already said Trump is innocent, so he already got what he wants. Now, they're thinking, oh, but he wants, Trump wants her on camera saying it, right? The lawyer already said it. That's already a pretty good message. Mentioning Bill Clinton, I find fascinating. There's at least one of two things going on, at least. By her lawyer saying, you may not like her message, but it's true, right? Right? We're going to, neither Bill Clinton nor Donald Trump did any wrongdoing, according to Maxwell. Either she honestly believes that Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, neither of them did anything wrong. She either believes that and she's telling the truth, or she's lying. The question is, why would she lie? Well, Donald Trump won't like her saying that Bill Clinton didn't do anything wrong, right? And Donald Trump isn't really smart enough for this, but if I were advising Donald Trump, I would tell him, you want Nixon goes to China here, which is a metaphor some people will get. You don't want a Republican exonerating you. You want a Democrat exonerating you, right? You want someone who looks like they're covering for Bill Clinton to exonerate you. If she simply exonerates you for a pardon, it's going to look like she said it for the pardon. If she says Bill Clinton was innocent too, knowing it would piss Donald Trump off, knowing it makes her look bipartisan, knowing it makes her look like she's not just a Republican operative, then it makes it look all the more true of what she's saying, right? Because she said right there, you may not like what I'm saying. People on both sides are not going to like what I'm saying, but I'm telling you both Bill Clinton and Donald Trump are innocent. So I must be telling the truth because I'm making nobody happy. Either she is telling the truth or she's lying, and that's part of the lie. Part of the lie is, if I were a bad person working for her and possibly willing to commit some crimes, I would say, Trump people, we're willing to offer you an olive branch. We're willing to go public and say you didn't do anything, but we're going to make it even better. We're going to say Bill Clinton didn't do anything either to make it look like she must be telling the truth. Because she, right, as I just said, she's exonerating Democrats and Republicans, and she's exonerating somebody who Donald Trump would not want her to exonerate. So clearly, Donald Trump didn't set this up because he wouldn't want her to exonerate. It's one or the other. I don't know which. She's either lying or telling the truth. But the lie could be very tempting here. My God, he's going to pardon. He's going to. The thing is, the Epstein thing is the bottom of the barrel. People are not happy about ICE murdering American citizens, like really not happy. That's really bad polling. Epstein is the only thing that polls worse than ICE right now. I don't think Trump wants to be pardoning her. I think he might pardon her, but I think before the election, people are going to flip out. His own people are furious about the Epstein thing. And by the way, he's already coddled her. They took her out of the maximum security prison. She's now in some minimal security thing. I read she gets to leave for work. She has work meetings outside of the prison she gets to go to. This kind of crap, right? If he pardons her, there's a part of me, I of course don't want her pardoned. There's a part of me that almost wants her pardoned because that might be the straw. It may not break the camel's back, but it's going to injure the camel's back, at least for Republicans to see just how much corruption there is. The fact that Ghislaine Maxwell gets pardoned by Donald Trump for horrific crimes against children. Anyway, what else we got? I've got too many stories. Guys, I've only gone through half the news today. Bad Bunny slowed us down. The Bad Bunny story was great, though. But let me go through some more of these. There's really good stories, though. New York Times. Republicans are worried about the election. Trump doesn't seem to care. Republicans looking to the White House to lead in the face of the party's dimming prospects for November's midterm elections are facing a crucial hangup: the president. The party's flagship campaign committee and super PACs have no indication of how Donald Trump will deploy his $300 million plus war chest because he has not approved a spending plan. Republican donors are funding expensive Senate primaries in Texas and Georgia because Trump has not cleared the field with his endorsement, or in the case of Louisiana, endorsed a challenger to an incumbent Republican. This is important here. Anybody who's got a problem with CNN, you're about to be blocked. Just letting you know. Unless you're saying, well, clarify what you're talking about with CNN, but bash CNN and you're blocked because that's literally code for I'm a crazy person. So, we were saying, okay, so listen to this. So what they're saying is there are primaries in Texas and Georgia. Okay. Oh, remind me about CNN. Oh, she's okay. Oh, thank you. Okay. The CNN thing I already told you. Oh, sorry. I thought you were complaining that I was quoting CNN, and I hate when people, not I hate, but people do that. It's always a sign. Yeah. No. You missed it. I already talked about it. I talked about Harry Enton doing the analysis of the polls on CNN. That's what, yeah. Sorry, you missed. That's why I thought you were trolling. I'm like, I talked about that 10 minutes ago. Yeah. That was the CNN poll thing from like 10 minutes ago. Okay. Anyway, the Republicans have got primaries in Texas and Georgia. Trump has not endorsed anybody. So the primary is a free for all, and they're spending tons of money, millions of dollars on these primaries because if Trump would endorse somebody, then it'd be over. If Trump endorses them, then everybody else goes, all right, we're not going to fight. It's not worth it. And you don't have to spend any money on the primary. But now Republicans are wasting money on their own primaries fighting each other because Trump hasn't bothered endorsing. That's what's so cool with this. People who have spoken with Trump about these obstacles say he at times can sound detached and non-committal about his plans for spending and endorsements. One person close to the White House said, some days the president seems not to care. He sounds like he's kind of cuckoo. I mean, let me read this again. People who have spoken with Trump about these obstacles say he at times can sound detached, like not quite there, right? And non-committal about his plans for spending and endorsements. One person close to the White House said, some days the president seems not to care. For much of last year, the White House was an island of optimism. Trump's team, this is New York Times, Trump's team would argue that Republicans were better positioned than at the same point in his first term, blah, blah, blah. Democrats, however, don't need a 218 sized blue, the year 2018 sized blue wave to win the House of Representatives, where Republicans hold the narrowest possible majority and are defending 14 seats rated as toss-ups by the Cook Political Report. Democrats are defending 4 toss-up seats. So Republicans have 14 seats that could go either way in the House. Democrats have only 4 seats that could go either way. That's the problem for Republicans. Trump made a huge mistake on the economy this weekend. Tom Lamas is investigating him. Tom Lamas might be ABC News, I forget. He says, let's see on the economy. You just mentioned it. You said you inherited a mess from President Biden when it comes to the economy. But at what point is it on you? At what point are we in the Trump economy? What do you think Bozo said? NBC? Okay, thank you. What do you think Bozo said? Oh, I'd say we're there now. I'm very proud of it. Trump admitted the economy is his. Now, in some ways, he doesn't have a choice because it is his economy. We're a year into his term, but the economy is still not doing well. We're losing jobs. Inflation is not under control. People are pissed. He keeps focusing on wars and things and his Nobel Prizes, and he's not focusing on, or this Ghislaine Maxwell stuff. He's not focusing on fixing the economy. And now he gets asked, at what point are you going to claim credit? And the reason he did it is because the rest of the paragraph, he's bragging all these fake economic numbers he created. The economy was going to grow at 7%. If the economy was going to grow at 7%, we'd be in trouble we'd be in so much trouble with inflation if the American economy grew that much. He has to lie. So in Trump's head, he's asking, am I responsible for how great the economy is going? Of course I am. Now, part of it is maybe he's not even lying. Maybe in Trump's head, he really thinks the economy is doing well because he's lied to himself so much, right? But I think in his own weird head, he thinks, oh yeah, we've done great. I'm taking credit, when everybody thinks the economy's been a disaster. And you're right, electric bill. I told you my electric bill, I guarantee you it's going to be $350 or $400 for an apartment. At its worst, this weather was particularly bad. It should have been $275. It's probably going to be $350 to $400. I guarantee you, because of power prices now in America. Oh man, you know what? Oh my God, I've got so much stuff to tell you guys. All right, this one can be tomorrow because it's an evergreen. Trump isn't inviting Democrats to the annual bipartisan meeting of governors. Annually, the president meets with governors from the Democratic and Republican parties, and they get together, and it's a big thing. Trump's decided this year he's uninviting the Democrats because he doesn't want them there. Again, he's not the president of all Americans. Period. The other thing, this was great. This was from Keith. I'm forgetting Keith's. Oh my God, I should remember. Keith Edwards, I think. Yeah, Keith, I think, is the one who found this. More than half the drugs on Trump RX. So Trump set up this website to try to get lower drug prices. And of course, he named the website after himself, Trump RX. RX in English means prescription. It's shorthand for prescription, RX. So he named it after himself, Trump RX. So Keith looked into the prices. More than half the drugs on the Trump RX site have a cheaper generic version on the market at large. More than half the drugs on Trump's website you can get cheaper by just buying the generic somewhere else. He says, for example, Pristique, an antidepressant, is available with a Trump RX coupon for $200 for a 30-day supply. Okay, Pristique, antidepressant, is available with a Trump RX coupon for $200 a month. $200 a month. He says a generic version on GoodRx costs $30. And on Mark Cuban's Cost Plus Drugs website, because Mark Cuban has his own website, $16.65. Trump has lowered the price of Pristique to $200 for you when you can buy the generic on Mark Cuban's website for $16. 30 pills for $200, and Mark Cuban's charging you $16. I'm not going to get any more today. This is what I tell people about why the lying matters. If he lies, he's not going to fix things because he's going to lie and say he already fixed it, right? So in this case, he's lying and saying, oh, we've lowered the drug prices, but he lies, which means he's not going to lower the drug prices. And just that, he's going to do things that don't solve our problems. And then on inflation, he's already declared that inflation is fixed. Trump, he a couple of weeks ago, he said, oh no, inflation's down. It's non-existent. I mean, inflation's at 3%. He lied. I even showed you guys the chart. He claimed a couple of weeks ago, inflation is now beat. It's zero. It was terrible. It was like 9% when I became president, and now it's zero. Inflation was at 3% when Donald Trump became president a year ago. Joe Biden left him with 3% inflation. Inflation is now at 3%. It's the exact same level when Trump took office. But Trump claimed inflation's to zero. Here's the problem. And there's what I said. If Trump claims inflation is solved and inflation is fixed, he's not going to do anything to fix it because he already thinks it's fixed, or either he thinks it's fixed or he thinks he can lie about it and you'll believe any lie he gives you. But the point is, if he lies about fixing things and claims they're already fixed, he doesn't need to fix them. He now lied and claimed he got drug prices down. He didn't in many cases. But because he claims he already did it, he now doesn't have to do it, right? Yeah, remember the 400% cheaper. Remember when we gave that lie about, scores of drug prices I got down 500, 600%, which is impossible. Once you drop up the price 100%, it goes to zero. Literally. When the price goes down 100%, the price goes to zero. Trump keeps going 500%, 600%. No, I mean, thank God the polls. I mean, again, our country's in so much danger, but thank God the polls are this bad. His rant. Oh yeah, I talked about. Thank you, Mike. We can end on that. Bad Bunny again, mi querido. Trump flipped out. Well, actually interesting. Trump flipped out about Bad Bunny's Super Bowl performance. We started with Super Bowl, we'll end with Super Bowl. And what was particularly interesting is Bad Bunny did such a good, calling it Bad Bunny sounds so stupid, but Benito did such a good job that Trump didn't know what to say, because he thought he was going to get up there and criticize Trump and this kind of stuff. And he got up there and gave this message of I believed in myself, and you can believe in at one point in Spanish, he goes, you can believe in yourself too. It was like this wonderful, and he talked about love. The only thing that can conquer hate is love. I mean, it was this wonderful, my nose is itching. Sorry. This wonderful message. Well, Trump didn't expect that. So Trump went nuts afterwards. It was horrible. The only thing he could say, because there was nothing to criticize, It was all in Spanish. You couldn't understand any of it. That's all he had to say. He couldn't say anything else. He had nothing else he could say. He said, it was all in Spanish. That was the only argument Trump made as to why the Super Bowl performance was bad. It's like, okay. They, like I said, you could be annoyed. I mean, not annoyed, but I still wish he had put subtitles. I think it would have been nice. But, I mean, the other thing too is he's huge. He's freaking huge. Like, to me, I found it interesting because, okay, maybe it's just me. I actually don't. It's funny. I don't know how much I told my friend Michael this once. I don't know that I listen to music for the words. Thank you, Annie. I'm not convinced I listen to music for the words. I like the words with the melody, but Michael would say, I remember Michael would always tell me, like, oh, you've got to listen to this song, listen to this sentence or stanza or whatever. And I'd listen to it and go, okay, yeah, whatever. I like music. I like the sound of the music, and I do like the words, but I like it with the sound. I don't actually like songs because I go, oh, those are great lyrics. I mean, I can, right? I mean, but like one of my favorite songs is Spandau Ballet's Gold. It's because the song picks me up and I feel like I'm on a roller coaster for 3 minutes. I remember, and we were dancing to it in Spain. It was great. When I was 19, met all these Brits. We had a great time. But it's a roller coaster of music, not of words. But I love that song, but it's not Gold, Always Believe in Your Soul or whatever it is. You've got the power to... the words are okay. The song is so powerful. Anyway, so for me, like, when I'd be curious what Bad Bunny was singing because I want to know, but I like music based on the feel of the songs more. That's more important to me. The song I'm talking about is Gold by Spandau Ballet. It's an amazing song. Spandau Ballet, Spandau, and then ballet like ballet, Gold. Anybody who's young and doesn't know, Google it. So my nose is itching like crazy now. If you don't know the song, Google it. It's an amazing song. Amazing song. But like I said, I was at a disco in southern Spain, and back when I didn't mind going out alone, I went out to the disco alone, and I mean, like, I hate doing it alone, and actually, I think I'd already met the Spanish. I already met the British people at this point. I met some British students who were there. Oh my God, my nose is going crazy. Who were there for a week doing some like study abroad thing, but like for a week or two. And they were getting these they got a performance by a Spanish guitarist, by some old man that was very famous. He wasn't the big, the famous, what's his face, Andre, whatever. He wasn't him, or Segovia or whatever. It wasn't him, but it was some other very old, famous Spanish flamenco guy, or, Spanish guitarist. And they were playing and they were like, come with us. And I said, I can't go with you. It's your school group. They're going to know. And he goes, you're American. They don't know the accent. he goes, because it's Spanish people. They're the ones controlling the entrance. I said, okay. So we just walked in the Spanish, had no idea I was English. And I hung out with the Spanish kids all day. They were a riot. I mean, the British kids. But yeah, so we went dancing at night, and I remember a Spandau Ballet, and one of the British girls had one of those sundresses and dancing to Gold by Spandau Ballet. And I remember her spinning around, and she had a sundress on, which basically looks like a whirling dervish. But imagine a woman spinning in a sundress to Gold. It was like something out of a music video. I don't even like girls, so to speak. It was beautiful. I mean, so it wasn't sexual in any way. It was just beautiful visually. But that song has always loved that song. Anyway, but yeah, so the whole thing with Bad Bunny, the point is, like, to me, I don't care if I don't understand the words, although I'd like to know them. For me, I could tell by the music was okay. I love, salsa and merengue and stuff. His stuff, I'm undecided. It's not bad. I'm undecided, though, whether it's my kind of music, because there is some rap. There also, like I said, for me, it felt like there was some dance music, and I hate dance music. So like I don't know. Oh yeah, Google the whirling dervishes. They're amazing. She literally looked like a whirling dervish. I mean, there's nothing else to compare her to. A spinning top, maybe. No, I'll listen to more of his stuff. I'll listen to more of his stuff. Oh, I didn't watch the game, please. Somebody wrote boring game. The game, please. I'm not a big sports guy, other than like the Olympics. The Olympics have been fun to watch. The like there's an Olympic competition of ice dancing, which I think I didn't fully appreciate before. It was really good. They're showing something like they showed the Canadian couple from 8 years ago. Somebody was sharing the video. Oh my God. Anyway, it's funny. I don't, anybody else, like, I don't really watch the Olympics anymore because I hate what they do with them on TV. They're boring. I love Green Day. They're boring. They show you like one thing at a time and then they jump off for half an hour. And I can't keep watching. Like, I want to watch the competition, I just can't. So I don't really watch the Olympics, and it bums me out because like I love the Winter Olympics much more than the summer. But oh, she's lying in her bed whining again. But much more than the summer, I love the Winter Olympics, but I just get a little bored with them, So I didn't see the Super Bowl commercials because I had it off. I'd have to Google them and see. Anyway. Yeah, I really do think NBC ruined the Olympics. They really did. Because like I said, I try watching them and I'm like, oh God, here's another introspective on the athletes, which is okay, but I want to watch the fucking competition. And it just doesn't, it's as if they're trying to turn it into a 5-hour affair. And I don't want to spend 5 hours. I want to spend 2 hours watching it. You know what I mean? Kind of annoys me anyway. Dog has not gotten her medicine yet because everything got fucked up, but she should be getting the alphabet medicine on Tuesday or Wednesday. And I'm hoping her Rimadyl by Wednesday, because it's been taking forever to get it approved and everything. So, I mean, her leg is, it's not great. Her leg is improved. It was very bad last week in the middle of the week. It's better, but it's still not great. And I'd like to see if the medicine would help, So yours too. Oh, I thought you meant your leg too. You mean your pet. All right. Yeah. Anyway, all right, we're about to go here, guys, since it's now a little leg. Oh, your leg too. Okay. Yeah, Vance was booed. That was pretty funny. Nothing happened to my dog. She just got old. Went to Chicago at Christmas and she was limping. Took her to the vet when we got back, and the vet said, it could be arthritis. Her knees have also got that, whether it's luxating patella or whatever it's called, where the knees pop out. They've got that pretty bad. She thinks it's arthritis. She thinks maybe it's a little disc issue in the back too. We tried Galaprant or whatever. I think it helped a little. Gabapentin helped more, but it's not great. She walks and she limps with one foot and then the other foot limps. It's not great. She's an old lady, but she suddenly became an old lady a month ago. That's the only thing that worries me. Like, it was so sudden that I was like, it was so sudden that it makes me feel like, is it something where some medicine could help? The vet did not feel Librela was the right option at this point. I think I sent her some videos because I thought that's, we hadn't seen the vet in a month. And in looking at it and the way I described everything, she's not entirely convinced, already doing glucosamine. She's not entirely convinced about the Librela. She said at this point, let's try the Rimadyl. I'm trying the alphabet medicine as well. We don't talk about that on TikTok. And the Rimadyl, and we're going to see. And she said, let's try the Rimadyl for, a week or two, do a blood test, see how it goes. Lyme disease. That's funny. No, that's very interesting though. I didn't think of that. Lyme disease with the legs. That is interesting. Huh. That is very interesting. Yes. User 442. Correct. So we'll see. I'm going to see what the Rimadyl does first. Lyme is interesting. I had not thought of that. That's actually very interesting. Well, let me see how these drugs work first. I don't know if there's other symptoms of Lyme disease in dogs that maybe she doesn't have. I don't know. Besides the limb thing. Limes. Yeah, she's not eating limes. Also, it's been pretty, she hasn't really been out much. Now people are telling their sad dog stories. Anyway, a Pokemon character or a drug. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, she did. Well, we did do a blood test, although I don't know whether the blood test included Lyme. Well, Rimadyl, that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about Rimadyl being tough on her digestion and stuff. That's the thing, you know. Um, you know, because for me it is like I can't do NSAIDs in general. The irony is like meloxicam I can take pretty well. Regular NSAIDs, Tylenol, ibuprofen, whatever, all that stuff, or not ibuprofen, Aleve, whatever. Those things tend to give me really bad heartburn. So I know we don't want to hear sad dog stories. So anyway, so we'll see. We'll see. She's been on Rimadyl when she was younger, but I've got to try something. We're going to see how she does on it. And like I said, we're going to try the alphabet medicine that I don't want to say so TikTok doesn't get mad at me. And we'll see if the alphabet medicine along with Rimadyl. I don't want to OD on her either because like the alphabet medicine, you're supposed to go slow too. So it doesn't necessarily upset them. So we will, the Puppy Bowl, the Puppy Bowl we have not watched because Sasha has been a maniac when we watched the Puppy Bowl. Years ago, when she kind of got over dogs on TV, like at first dogs on TV, very bad. Then she grew up and dogs on TV were no longer an issue. I tried putting the Puppy Bowl on 3 years ago, maybe, and she went crazy. And I was like, so I've never gotten to watch the Puppy Bowl because of her. So, because she just freaked out. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Just absolutely freaked out. The Puppy Bowl got more views than Kid Rock. I mean, I've seen it myself. At one point, I saw it, and it was like, "Oh my God, here comes so and so!" Like it was like those cars that would vibrate on the track, which I used to love that, or the football players that would vibrate on the track. Remember that? I love that game. Anyway, I know. Hopefully, it's the weather. I mean, it's. Yeah, and we'll see about Lyme. I do want to. I'll have to look and see what the symptoms are for Lyme. The vet did not think so. I mean, what made me suspicious though is it started out of nowhere. And granted, maybe it can, but it started out of nowhere. Like suddenly she was limping, and then a week and a half later, the other leg was going up, and now both legs are not. She can walk, but they're not great. It was fast. Now that could be lower back, but it could be Lyme as well because it just came out of nowhere. Now you're getting me all worried about the Lyme thing. Well, you know what? We're doing another blood panel in 2 weeks. So I'll mention, the damn blood panel, the small blood panel was $180. I was like, oh my God, DC is crazy expensive. She goes, well, we'll do the small blood panel. I'm like, okay, 100. I said, was that the small? She goes, that was a small one. 180. Jesus. Hello, you. Oh my God. All right. Are you being crazy again? Go on. You're out of your mind. Hi. She just insists on walking the most difficult path. I have the tripod down there and she keeps going like on top or under the tripod. Ooh, my hair or something. She can't just walk around it, Anyway, the gabapentin is already on. So anyway, we'll see. We shall see. It could be the cold weather, but like I said, I'm a little suspicious and everything. Honestly, Lyme would make more sense. Everything about it makes me suspicious because it was out of the blue, both sides. I'm like, it just, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to Google Lyme when we're done and see what other symptoms are. So we shall see. What do you want? She's in a mood. She wants her treat. So she's not wrong. It's 7:30. This is when she gets her treat. I'll show you her tomorrow. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. Thank you for joining us tonight. All right, Discord, I'm going to go since dog is getting bitchy with me, as always. See you guys. Thank you. I hear you, dog. Don't you worry. All right. YouTube, thank you, guys. Oh, thank you for the glasses there.